Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, here can I get what I'm calling the bonus round video for the day. That is because sometimes so many things happen all at once. I've got to schedule an extra video to make sure I tell you about them. And even no IGS PGM on MiSTer FPGA is not complete in any way, shape, or form. Wickerwaka is definitely making progress with this core, and there is a quote-unquote playable game. But depending on how you define playable, you'll have to see here, definitely still has some graphical glitches. And before you ask, this isn't anything that you're going to want to test at this point in time. This is a progress report video on MiSTer FPGA IGS PGM recreation in FPGA, just because I absolutely love the platform and I can't wait to play some of these games. And even though I have multiple IGS PGM boards and a ton of games, having it readily available on MiSTer FPGA will be absolutely amazing when I don't want to dig my super gun and original carts or even some of those standalone JAMA boards out of my closet. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, you got a Patreon link down below as well. If you're wondering, the name of this game is Escoluda. It is very hard to pronounce and I hope I got it right. Now at this point in time, obviously the game is playable, you can move around, you can shoot, all the projectiles are coming towards you, and I would say based upon my real cartridge, or basically my bootleg cartridge because they're all bootlegs, this is definitely running basically almost identical to what you would expect out of an actual IGS PGM as far as the overall game speed is concerned. Now, I would have to do a side-by-side capture to 100% confirm that, but obviously this core is not at the stage yet where you'd even compare it to real hardware. But the fact that it's even working, drawing graphics and sprites and background layers, and the game logic is functioning is in and of itself absolutely impressive, because it's not like Wickerwaka has been at this for all that long. And it's one of those things, the IGS PGM has a ton of different games, some absolute hidden gems as well as some of the best cave shmups ever made in that era. And it's one of those things, if we actually go to an original hardware capture here off my cartridge, you can definitely see that the aspect ratio is a bit off, and obviously you're not getting any graphical glitches in the game on real hardware like you would on the MiSTer FPGA core. But don't think those graphical glitches are something that is a quote-unquote problem. It is just in development, so obviously the hardware isn't 100% strung together in the FPGA code. But even if that isn't the case, in some instances, if I just took a screenshot of this and said it was IGS PGM footage, I could fool a lot of you, because when everything is drawing correctly, it absolutely looks stunning. And it's one of those things, this is how the sausage gets made. It's a term I love to say on the channel, but I love talking about actual preview builds, because sometimes the process, to me at least, is more entertaining than the actual end result. And big thanks to Andy D for helping with some of the capture on this footage as well today. Andy D, I am impressed you stayed alive a lot longer than I thought. And it's one of those things, the bullet hell genre is either absolutely for you or you absolutely hate it. There really isn't any in between. But it's one of those things, I absolutely love these games. They require a lot of precise attention and movement, and basically they're all games that you're going to learn them via muscle memory, and it might take you dozens of hours to quote unquote get good, but you're going to love all those hours you spend with the game. And again, the logic is clearly working here because everything does make sense. You'll see here there is going to be a rotation mode in the core as well, at least at this point in time, and I can't imagine that would go anywhere, so it's going to be something. If you want to play this Tate on a CRT or even on an LCD monitor, you're going to be able to do so, but if you want to just play it on a horizontal monitor natively, you can do that as well. And you'll see clearly some of the effects here have some corruption, and that's just one of those things. Still being in active development, this is what is to be expected. But just for the fact that the gameplay logic works, you can play it, it actually loops through, and it's something that is interactable in and of itself is outstanding. And having played around with this in the background as well, I will say the control latency is absolutely where it needs to be, because this is the type of game, if you did have latency in the controls for any reason, it would basically be an impossible game to play, because this is fast twitch reflexes. Now we're going to go into a quote-unquote soundtrack sample, but I'm actually going to let you listen to the PGM version of the game, because at this point in time, audio really isn't in the core to any sort of place where I'd actually let you listen to it, because it's slightly distorted, and by slightly I mean sounds like two cats being beat up in a burlap sack. But go ahead and listen to what the game should sound like, and will sound like eventually on MiSTer FPGA. Yeah, that'll definitely sound good coming out of MiSTer FPGA when it is ready, and as far as when this core is going to be playable with all of the games, that remains to be seen. It's one of those things that could take 2 weeks, it could take 2 months, it could take 2 years. It is going to be done when it's ready, so it's definitely one of those things. Get excited about it, but temper your expectations because everything takes the time it requires. And don't forget that no single MiSTer FPGA core developer does this stuff full time. I'm sure Wickerwaka has a bunch of other hobbies outside of giving us games to play. But honestly, after the Taito F2 cores and everything else he has done, absolutely excited for PGM because it's one of those things I've been saying since I talked about MiSTer FPGA that the IGS PGM is one of the best retro gaming hidden gems out there that basically nobody plays. And I like to say this is why retro gaming is making a comeback, and it's because new people are discovering games they've never played before, in a lot in part because of MiSTer FPGA. If you're wondering, that's supposed to be a train there. Obviously the sprite priority is not drawing correctly because it's basically stacking up on itself. But there really is something to be said about seeing how the game is put together when it both works and doesn't work. And it's one of those things, when the N64 core was in development, everyone enjoyed and loved seeing all of the games completely corrupted because they knew good things were coming, but it was really fun to kind of get a preview on how they were built. And that's why I do make these videos. I get it, you're not going to go out and play Escalita today. It's not going to be working 100% on any sort of core, but I know you guys like seeing progress reports on stuff like this because it absolutely just hits. And moving into the next boss here, again, it is way more playable than you would expect for the level of corruption you're seeing here. And honestly, when those bullets can't be seen whatsoever, Andy D, I have no idea how you stayed alive during that. Absolutely sheer luck or blind determination, but damn it, that was one of the most impressive things. And what I really want to see right now is somebody who is an expert at this game that can 1cc it. Maybe I'll send it over to Actane, because he's a dude that basically specializes in shmups on YouTube. He's actually been to my house because I sold him a PVM maybe about 18 to 24 months ago, and he uses it in Tate mode to stream on YouTube and I think Twitch as well. Maybe he could do a 1cc of this one with all the graphical corruption, and that would absolutely be a hilarious challenge because trust me, in and of itself, 1ccing any sort of cave bullet hell shmup, 99 out of 100 people aren't going to be able to do it. And when you have this graphical corruption on this work in progress core, it's basically a test. Getting a 1cc would probably be a legendarily amazing thing to do. And it's one of those things, the minute I saw this footage I thought to myself, well, the game can be played from start to finish, it just can't be played well, but I bet somebody out there has this entire thing memorized to the point where it wouldn't really even matter to them. The only thing I've never seen done, and I don't ever expect to see done, is a blindfolded 1cc of a cave game. Unless it exists out there and you know about it, leave me a comment down below. Just so you know, we're only doing one soundtrack sample here because, again, the game doesn't really have much of a soundtrack. But what really is working well are all these geometric bullet patterns here. Navigating through them, you can see that they all are exactly where they need to be. So it's one of those things, something about some of the background sprites and even some of the effects, those seem to be having some issues in the core, but again, it's hard to even call them issues, it's just incomplete code. And you'll see here when the actual result screen comes up, you're going to get nothing whatsoever. But when you actually get into the game, the fact that you can even play it, interact with it, and have fun with it shows just how good Wickerwaka is at this core development and just how exciting it's going to be when this thing actually gets finished up, because trust me, the PGM is absolutely lousy with the hidden gems. There's a ton of cave shmups, a ton of amazing beat-em-ups and fighting games, stuff like Demon Front that's basically Metal Slug by a Taiwanese developer, not a Japanese developer. You're going to have hundreds upon hundreds of hours of fun when this core actually releases. I can't be excited enough about that thing, because for as long as I've had a channel, I have said one thing basically consistently: if you've never played the IGS PGM before, you owe it to yourself to do so. If you're curious what the best games to play are, I have an IGS PGM playlist on the channel where I review some of my favorites from some years ago. But trust me, get hyped, the IGS PGM core is coming. Again, there is no stated date, so definitely be patient, but this is an amazing proof that it's actually working out, and I can't wait to see what comes next. And don't worry, next time there is an update, I will definitely run another video. If you're wondering why this is a bonus episode, so much stuff's already happened this week, and I've got a ton of surprises for you in store as well, so don't miss any of the videos, because it's going to be a really fun and busy week of video game esoterica. But short of that, we're done. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.